All right. How's everybody doing today? I am Chef JoJo with ECO, and welcome to Shift Drink Live, where we discuss what's happened in the industry over a shift drink. Today's episode, I will be having the War Hop, and we'll be discussing all sorts of stuff. I guess it's a very good beer to have. I feel like everybody's going to war. This is, of course, from Arrow Lodge Brew. Very nice. Well, my goodness, do we have a lot to talk about, and not that much at the same time. Wondering how everybody's doing out there, what they're up to, you know, the normal. But what I can tell you I've been up to is I've been working a little bit, of course, right? Working. And then trying to stay somewhat in, not, going crazy, but in some sort of shape, working out, maybe jogging, running, doing some stuff like that, just trying to keep it going. I have high aspirations one day to start running further distances, but we'll see how that goes. Anywho, I've got some things that have been bothering me that I thought we should discuss, and from your responses on our Facebook page, I think that they have been bothering you too. Just recently, the PPP busted out and ran out of money on Thursday, and now a lot of small businesses are trying to figure out what's next for them. Meanwhile, we have large chains gobbling up a good deal of it. I don't know what to think about this day and age, or the state that we're in right now currently. For me, it's been a bit of an interesting struggle, if you will, because I'm happy that it happened, and I'm glad that people are getting it done, and the money's flowing. Some businesses have been able to get it, some businesses haven't, and for a lot of us, how do you say this? For a lot of us, we're just trying to make ends meet, right? And we filled out the paperwork and we mailed it in, and we're trying to get what we can out of this. We're trying to get a loan. It's going to come in. Is it not going to come in? We don't know. And then you see an article that comes out where Ruth Chris and Potbellies snag an enormous amount of the money. Not an enormous amount, but more money than what I think, most of us could understand. It says here that Florida-based steakhouse operators Ruth Hospitality Group, this is off New York Post, April 7th, for $20 million. Potbellies secured 10, I guess. So that's $30 million out the door, and we, as a small business owners, I'm including myself, but I'm not selling sandwiches or anything like that. I'm selling apparel for us, but that's a side note. $30 million goes to what we would consider chain restaurants. And their profits last year were like $48 million. I read in one of the articles. I was trying to pull up one of those. And I'd have to say I was a little upset. Not upset. Yeah, I was upset. I was like, man, Jesus, it was breaking my heart, because I know that a lot of people out there are struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet. They don't know what they're going to do. And they don't know if they can keep their people working or what people to keep working, because if they have too many people working, then they might not qualify. They might qualify. Now the money's gone. And so I had posted that, and it's gotten, I think there's 80 plus comments on this particular article. And I think a buddy of mine says it pretty well And it was good to see him posting because he's running a kitchen down in Miami. And Richard, if you pick this up, it's pretty cool to see you out there commenting. But he says, this no way helps mom and pop places that have been struggling to keep what staff they have, and they can. These guys are worth hundreds of millions. And they laid off their staff and started a GoFundMe page. If the French Laundry didn't try curbside takeaway, then Keller shouldn't get a voice in how to help the little guy. It's a good, complete disconnect and disrespectful to the struggle to keep food on the table for my line cooks. He's running a restaurant. And this curtails, I pasted 2 articles back to back. The second one was about the team that was put together to help restaurants. So now we got major chains filing and getting approved. Now, a lot of it, I mean, some of that from a business standpoint makes sense because they probably could calculate and get the paperwork done extremely easily. And they had the proper channels because, you know, they have controllers or accountants, and it was like boopity boop, hit the button, hit print, call the guy at the bank that they deposit thousands and thousands of dollars to. And next thing you know, it's money that's just sent on over. And they know how much their cost of goods are. They know how long it's going to take, blah, blah, blah. There are some comments on that article that says it makes sense. And he's like, as much as it kills me, and he was a small business, runs a restaurant. He's like, you know, I figured it would go this way. A lot of these people, and this might have been on my Facebook group, Leaders Network, that I'm a part of with ECO, but they were saying a lot of the businesses didn't know how to calculate their cost in time, couldn't get the paperwork in time, and they were really struggling, and we need to help the businesses out there understand how to get this paperwork done. It still doesn't really make you feel good when you don't know how you're going to pay your line cooks or your people or your servers or your bartenders, and then Ruth Chris and Potbellies, which make an enormous amount of money, have multiple locations, bring in $10 or $20 million right off the bat, and you would just love to get the $10,000. And I saw that and was pretty upset. And then President Trump put a task force together to save restaurants. And at first I didn't see this article. I got it in an email from like Restaurant Hospitality News or something like that. And I was clicking through it, and the people that were on it were a little concerning for me in the beginning, right? National Restaurant Association, Marvin, that's great because he's got his finger on the pulse for the association. But then we have McDonald's, Darden, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Chick-fil-A, Subway, Bloomin', Yum, Papa John's, Wendy's, Waffle House, Starbucks, Wolfgang Puck. I was really like, how many more corporations of fast food could we get slammed in there? Yum and Pepsi. I thought Pepsi owned Yum. So great. Multiple locations throughout the United States, employs lots and lots of people. Totally get it. But at the same time, where's the chefs? Some of you guys, when I put this up, were saying, where's Jose Andres? Okay, perfect. You know, it just, for me, I just didn't feel Jimmy John's in here. You know, man, I don't know what's happening. I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't understand. I know that most of these restaurants, like Carl's Jr.'s, Taco Bell, well, they got Taco Bell Yum brand. Somebody said add that. McDonald's, a lot of these drive-thrus are currently open and working the staff and letting and making sales. Great. At least somebody's working, right? And you guys can pull this article up. It's on Grub Street. You can see the strong list of it. And they got Thomas Keller, Wolfgang Puck, Jean-Georges Von-Richon, right? And Daniel Bouliard. I screwed that up every time. Always. Here's my deal. Wolfgang, multiple restaurants, chef of the Oscars, Thomas Keller at the top of his game, per se, French Laundry, all of those things. But I have to kind of lean a little bit and respect their accomplishments, but hope that they remember where they came from and what it took. I don't know. I mean, it's such an interesting time that everybody is, you know, freaking out that they're on lockdown. We got people marching the streets saying they want to get up and get out and all this stuff. And we have restaurants that are just barely hanging on. And I got money going to restaurant companies that will easily get it, once they open back up, people will start going. I don't know how you guys are holding up, but that's kind of nerve-wracking and upsetting. I hope that the chefs that are on here speak up for the little guy, but they're on opposite polar ends, and there's nobody really I see in the middle. That's the thing that I've been struggling with, right? Restaurants our industry is so big. You can go from McDonald's all the way to the French Laundry. And, that's exactly what they did. But they left out this giant scope in the middle. Who's representing those guys? I could do more research. I don't know what M Crowd Restaurant co-founder is. Maybe you guys can give me an update on that. Shoot me a message if you know what it is. But I'm going to tell you right now, what about the people in the middle? That's great that McDonald's and Subway and all those that have huge supply chain lines that they understand logistics, they understand all that stuff, but they don't understand they do understand how to pinch a penny. That's how they make millions and millions of dollars, right? But I don't see how it helps the people that are doing $1 million in sales or $750,000 a year in sales out of their 60-seat bistro. I don't see it. I don't know who's going to remember that. Jimmy John's, the fastest sandwich. I'm not saying that they're not smart people. All of these people got there for a reason. I'm not even attacking the characters. I'm talking about where is the representation for the majority. I shouldn't be surprised. Are you surprised? I mean, I think it's interesting and concerning. A lot of the comments really hit home for me that it's, BS. One of the comments that was on our Instagram, it was really cool. This guy posted and he said it was ridiculous, and I actually reposted his post about the Potbellies. And then I think Chef Chad White was on there, and he commented on the original post, and he said 1 out of his 5 restaurants, 1 actually got funded. And he has less than 5 or 6 employees in each restaurant. Which is what maybe is that what hurt him? I don't know, but 1 out of 5, and you guys all probably know who he is. I mean, he was on Top Shelf. He's like a legit. I probably couldn't find it if I wanted to look for it. It'd be I should have pulled that up. But here's the deal. I guess what do we say? That's not fair. Those are the breaks. I think my favorite comment was, how come you don't see that these restaurants feeding hospitals, feeding other workers? There's a barbecue spot, and I keep talking about them, Heritage Barbecue down in Oceanside, I think, and I hope I got that right. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. They're feeding people for free off donated product that work in the industry or just need a meal. I don't know if anybody on that list is doing that. And you guys you can blow me up and tell me that I'm wrong and that Wolfgang's running, meals out of somewhere. Maybe they are. But I know that this guy's doing it, and he's trying to probably figure out how to pay his rent or his mortgage or put food on his table. And I don't see a lot of those chains that are on the Save the Restaurant. I don't see them doing that. I don't see them offering 50% gift certificates if you buy it for the hotel, like for the hospitals, not hotels, for the hospitals. I don't see that advertisement. Now, granted, I've had to kind of turn off the news for a little while because it got a little geez, it's hard to put up with. But I know that all of you guys out there are trying to figure it out, saying your restaurant's closed, you don't know how to pay bills, and then you look up and boom, $30 million to the big boys. It's upsetting, isn't it? Anyway, what I'd like to see, and this is a pipe dream, I guess, what I would have liked to seen is a little bit more representation of what a lot of people are going through. You know, I do think Jose Andres might have been a good call because of all of his public feeding and helping people that are in distress and getting that done, because there's probably going to be a lot of that. But at the same time, I don't know who would be the person that would represent all of us that have a small business. Who is that? We're like too small to fail, right? That's the hashtag. I've shared a lot of stuff from the independent restaurant, group on our Instagram, and it's been nice to see that it's been shared a lot. Please share that. Independent restaurants, you guys can follow them at Independent Restaurants on Instagram. They keep you updated with quite a bit of information and slides and all sorts of stuff that just kind of make it. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Independent restaurants. You guys, a lot of people on here talking about it. It's one of my favorites. 60% of the job losses in March, and now the total number of Americans seeking unemployment is 16.8 million. It doesn't help independent restaurants. What was interesting is that you're only supposed to be able to get the money if you had less than 500 employees. And then it was in that one article I read, I swear it said, guess what? In one location. How big is a restaurant that has 500 employees? Well, I mean, I guess where I work has over 500 employees. That's a stupid statement. But they went by location. I don't know, people. You tell me what you think. I know what I think. I think there's not a lot of... I can only focus on the things that I can change, and I'm going to focus on what I can change, and I'm going to try to help change happen. We've been having a very good week. Staying focused, trying to take care of the team, make sure that my people are okay, make sure that my family's okay, and, really try to provide myself with some sort of regular schedule. I think that's been the one thing. Let me go back to me. I think that's been the one thing that I've done decently is I've been able to have a regular exercise and stick to some sort of regimented schedule. I don't do well if I don't work a lot. I'm sorry, but if I'm not constantly working or have like all this crazy stuff going on where it's multiple events and they're back to back and it's a lot, and then come home and then family and practice and all this stuff where I say I feel like I'm in the weeds and how to manage that, all that has when it stopped. And I think that at first it was a nice break. Now it's one of those things where it's been a little, I find moments where I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning after going to bed at 10 and I can't get back to sleep till 4. Has that been happening to you guys, right? Where it's just like, I don't know. My brain works all the time. And if I don't have enough stuff going on, it makes it very difficult for me to stay relaxed. So last week, sorry we didn't do a shift drink, focusing on family time during the Easter. And now we're starting to get back in the swing of things. I got some pretty cool things, hopefully up my short sleeve, where we're doing some maybe interviews again, where we bring Leave It on the Line back, where we're interviewing chefs, like all of our Zoom meetings that everybody's posting. Why not we do that with chefs? And we talk about how they're maintaining and getting through. That's what I really want to make happen, so we can all kind of lean on each other during this time. I think we need to start focusing on things, and maybe that'll be next week's topic. I'm going to dive into really what we can do to get out of this stronger. Now, I'm not saying, I know we're going to have to really figure out what's going to make a difference for us personally. Like, I really try to start focusing on, for example, the running, right? Or exercising. I really had to make sure that I was doing that every day or every other day minimum to help deal with the stress and the anxiety of not working as much as I used to, and helping myself just sleep through the night. and trying not to have so many shift drinks where I pass out through the whole night. And that you can lean in heavy into that in the beginning, but you got to kind of you got to pull that back as we get further along into this adventure of what we call COVID-19 crisis, the pandemic. Try not to let the news get you down, even though we got major corporations crushing, $20 and $30 million loans, and you can't even figure out how to get bread into your operation. It's trying times. And as usual, ECO, one of my biggest messages, if we don't take care of each other, who will? I think that's why all the news lately has been so strong, and I'm hoping that this task force of major corporations and high-end fine dining, who I've idolized, there's a piece on Grub. Let me pull it up. I don't even really want to talk about it too much, but there is a piece that talks about the good and the bad and the ugly off of Grub Street and how much it's a horrible list, but it was a little bit aggressive for me to think that it was not completely off the bonkers biased. But it might be 100% true. There's some stuff said about JGV that, he's actually physically assaulted people. I need to look into that because I'm, halfway through his book and I did not know. Anyway, this is my rant, my topic on the Shift Drink Live. I really hope that you guys are doing well out there. And if there's anything that you need, any questions you might have, just know we're here. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, Snapchat too. And until next time, cheers.